Here's a question for you. Which would you rather achieve? Success or excellence? Okay, so yeah, the two may sound synonymous, but there's an important distinction. Success can only be determined by making comparisons to others, whereas excellence is something you can measure personally. Success can be fleeting, it can come and go, and how it's defined can often be out of your control. As a result, chasing success can ultimately end up being an unsatisfying fool's errand. The more satisfying and rewarding pursuit is excellence. The only question is personal growth. Am I improving? Did I learn something or do something today to make me a little better off than I was yesterday? My name is Amanda, and in this link to Ryan Hawk's The Pursuit of Excellence, we'll look at the nuts and bolts of pursuing, excellence. Hawk interviewed hundreds of world-renowned experts and entrepreneurs to determine which habits and practices seemed most effective, and boiled this down to 3 essential points. We'll go through these 3 and see how the pursuit of excellence can lead to more satisfaction in life, as well as more exciting growth in your career. Okay, so before we get into the 3 key habits, we're going to take a look at how the pursuit of excellence, rather than the pursuit of success, can lead to the kind of rewards that make life truly fulfilling. When we shift our focus from success to excellence, we're getting more personal. We're not in competition with some external factor we have no control over. The pursuit of excellence is all about becoming better at what you do, becoming more skillful, more knowledgeable. The other big difference is that success is generally a finite game. You set a goal, hit it, and are then left to wonder, what's next? The pursuit of excellence is an infinite game. Therefore, it will always keep you focused on growing, getting better, and achieving your greatest potential. In other words, the pursuit of excellence is always there to provide purpose and meaning, no matter where you find yourself. And this is exactly what a fulfilling and satisfying life needs: purpose. Now, you've likely heard the old advice that says all you need to do is follow your passion. When your work involves doing something you're truly passionate about, then it won't even feel like work at all. You'll never work a day in your life, or however the saying goes. Now look, there is good intention in this advice, but it's also problematic. Many of us have followed our passion and ran into the kind of setbacks that lead to doubts and second guessing. Wait, wasn't it supposed to be effortless once we found our passion? Weren't we supposed to feel like our work is indistinguishable from a holiday? Of course not. That's why the better advice is don't let anyone tell you it'll be easy. Excellence and achieving great results requires hard work. It takes the kind of focus and determination that will test your boundaries. There are no shortcuts, cheats, or hacks that will allow you to avoid the hard work. But hey, don't let this get you down. Once you shift gears and find yourself in the purpose mindset, you'll find that the rewards are constant and can propel you forward even when times are tough. A purpose mindset is one that is focused on the process. It's about achieving steady, constant growth rather than finite results. And this is one of the first keys to pursuing excellence: respect the process. So what does this actually mean? Well, the process is about long-term results. That means you don't let setbacks or mistakes derail you. Even better, when you focus on the process, you'll find that the results will take care of themselves. In this way, this can provide a welcome sense of freedom. Your responsibility is creating the plan and then sticking to it. This is what you can control. The rest doesn't matter. You can let it go. To put it in mathematical terms, freedom equals discipline. This was one of the big takeaways that the author took from looking at the career of Eliud Kipchoge. Kipchoge was born in Kenya, a man of modest means who went on to be what many consider the greatest of all time when it comes to marathon racing. As Kipchoge puts it, if you are undisciplined, you are a slave to your moods and passions. Not only that, but you're a slave to outside factors like your competitors, politics, or what other people are saying or doing. If you're disciplined and focused on a daily process of improvement, then you don't have to worry about these external things. You can rest easy knowing that you're following your plan and doing the hard work. Kipchoge is blunt about it. He says, to win is not important. To be successful is not even important. How to plan and prepare is crucial. So yeah, when you plan and prepare well, success and winning will follow. In other words, when you respect the process, the results will take care of themselves. Respecting the process also means that you don't have to come out of the gate like a champion. Your only expectation is in doing something today that will make you better than you were yesterday. It doesn't have to be big. In fact, planning out a series of small, doable steps is the better way to go. This is the first of the 3 big tips the author learned from his conversations with James Clear, the best-selling author of the book Atomic Habits. The second is to turn positive behaviors, the kind that will help you to reach those goals, into rituals or habits. And the third is to remove obstacles from your environment. Okay, so let's look at a few examples of how these 3 tips go pretty much hand in hand. Say you want to write a novel. Which plan sounds more likely to succeed? Setting one big end-of-the-year deadline or setting a series of goals to write a minimum of 100 words per day? Obviously the latter one, right? It's all about establishing a process, or as Clear calls it, a habit or ritual that guarantees progress. There's a good quote from a 19th century journalist, which is still so relevant today, in fact, that it can be found in the locker room of the San Antonio Spurs basketball team. It reads, "When nothing seems to help, I go and look at a stonecutter hammering away at his rock, perhaps 100 times without as much as a crack showing in it. Yet, at the 101st blow, it will split in 2, and I know it was not that last blow that did it, but all that had gone before." Now, this is respecting the process. Your job is to chip away a little bit more each day, knowing that your persistence is the hard work that will pay off in the end. Unfortunately, results don't come just from setting goals, but they do come from forming new habits and rituals, which only happens when you adopt a new lifestyle. Changing your lifestyle is basically another way of saying you're starting a new plan and adopting a new process. And this is what gets results. You might say, from now on, I'm going to eat better, get in shape, and waste less time watching television. Well, that's great, but in order for that to happen, you'll need to establish a new lifestyle that supports these goals. If you keep following your old one, it's extremely doubtful that you'll get the results you're after. And that makes sense, doesn't it? So, along with a new lifestyle, removing obstacles in your life will help as well. You might change your habits by getting up a little earlier in the morning, giving yourself time for a pre-breakfast workout ritual. But it's also a good idea to remove temptations from your environment. If you want to eat a healthier diet, why not make it easier by removing the sugary snacks from your cupboards? If you want to watch less television, then remove the TV from your workroom. Make your environment conducive to your plan. It may sound simple, but it's still effective. Come on, lots of things are out of your control, but you can control your lifestyle, your habits, and your home environment. All of these tips are about taking action. Now look, it's easy to make plans. Many of us do it at the start of every new year. In order to follow through, though, it requires making changes and keeping at it day after day. This slow and steady determination, a commitment to gradual improvement, is what separates excellence from mediocrity. At this point, you might be thinking, okay, so what I need to do is up my willpower game, right? In order to be determined and persistent in my process, I need to will myself to excellence. Okay, not so fast there, Tiger. Like the idea of simply following your passion, relying on willpower alone is another common misconception that can lead people into throwing in the towel too early. People as successful as NBA legend Michael Jordan have spoken about willing themselves to greatness. But, as comedian Jerry Seinfeld has pointed out, they're overlooking the crucial factor of love. No one is going to achieve excellence if they hate the process. On the other hand, when you truly love something, you have what Seinfeld referred to as a bottomless pool of energy. Now, I hear you thinking, wait a minute, how is this different from someone saying, if you do what you love, it won't feel like work? So maybe the better way to put it is, if you do what you love, you won't have trouble finding the energy needed to put in all the hard work. All right, so that might be more wordy, but that is a big difference, right? The first one implies that once you find your love, it's easy schmeeze, smooth sailing. The other is more accurate. It implies that it'll still involve a ton of effort, but you'll have the energy to do it. That's why once you have the purpose mindset in place, the next step is to find what you love. Michael Jordan loved the sport of basketball. Jerry Seinfeld loved the art of stand-up comedy. So they both had that bottomless pit of energy for getting them through all the ups and downs of the process. Love is what keeps excellent athletes returning to practice and running drills, even when their bodies are still sore and tired from yesterday's training session. Love is what keeps excellent performers returning to the stage, even after they've bombed and received terrible reviews. Everyone has to find their own thing that they love. But the next step that can help you along the way of developing excellence is asking for help. So many of us are afraid to ask for guidance or mentorship, and there really isn't a good reason aside from fear of being turned away, or a fear of sounding foolish. In the long run, these aren't the kind of fears that should hold you back. As Steve Jobs once rightfully pointed out, if you're afraid of failing, you won't get very far. There's a good chance that if you reach out to someone who's also pursuing excellence, they'll be responsive. People you admire are likely to have received guidance or mentoring from someone along the way, which means they're likely to see the value in passing along that debt of gratitude. But more to the point, so many people Ryan Hawk spoke to commented on the importance of getting over fears such as this one. In the pursuit of excellence, you have to take these steps. You have to be willing to fail from time to time. Just remember, failure is not an end. It's just part of that process. So beyond just asking for help, another important factor in the pursuit of excellence is surrounding yourself with excellent people. Reaching out to a possible mentor is just one way of doing this. There are a number of other factors to consider when trying to build a supportive, positive community around you. In fact, surrounding yourself with the right people is as important as any other action you can take in the pursuit of excellence. So one of the first things to consider is yourself. It's not hard to understand why you would want to have a strong support system of bright and talented minds around you, but ask yourself, why would they want to have you? Being a value add or a value enhancer comes up a lot in the conversations the author has had. Many of his guests, including the writer and host of the Accidental Creative podcast, Todd Henry, speak about the importance of establishing your value to others. What kind of attitude and work ethic are you bringing to the table? Are you establishing mutual respect in your relationships, or are you trying to assert yourself as a know-it-all? To be recognized as a value enhancer is partly about doing the work. You want someone to see you and think, that person makes the team better and stronger. That person digs deep, is eager to learn, and can be relied upon, without a doubt. But it's also about personality and establishing trust. Obviously, no one is eager to spend a lot of time with folks who are going to drag them down. And you shouldn't be either. You want to surround yourself with inspiring people. In other words, rather than transactional relationships, you do this for me and I'll do that for you, you want transformational relationships. These are the kind that change both people for the better. People in transformational relationships challenge one another to push their boundaries and reach new heights of excellence. Now, we all know that at times, especially at first, it can be hard to spot the difference between the transactional and transformational people in your life. So in order to steer clear of transactional people, here are some questions to ask yourself when making new encounters. Are they constantly dropping names in order to establish credibility? Do they ignore the details and talk a big game while actually doing very little? Do they only show up when there's something in it for them personally? Are they always saying I and rarely saying we? Are they often on the lookout for ways to break the rules in order to win? If the answer to any of these questions is yes, then the person in question may be lacking integrity and more interested in a transactional relationship. This means you're probably better off keeping your contact with this person to a minimum. Trust, humor, vulnerability, optimism, mutual respect, and gratitude. These are the qualities you want to look for because these are the qualities that make up a transformational relationship. The kind that will help you a great deal in that pursuit of excellence. Okay, so surrounding yourself with the right people will have transformational effects in terms of self-improvement. But it's not going to remove all the speed bumps on the road to excellence. There are going to be mistakes, setbacks, and days when you want to throw the plan out the window and go back to the comforts of your old habits. How we meet these moments makes all the difference. Simply put, those who embrace the struggle are the ones who excel in their pursuit of excellence. Again, it all comes back to that purpose mindset and how it allows you to reframe setbacks as being part of the process that we talked about early on. And here's some more tips on how you can keep yourself on the right track, reframe your failures as progress, and resist the urge to give up when the times get tough. So the first is to remember that achieving excellence is primarily the result of stretching your boundaries and pushing yourself. With this in mind, you can start to see failure as a positive. If you're not failing from time to time, that just means you're not really pushing yourself as much as you could be. And this feeds into the next tip. Study, learn, grow stronger. Having a purpose mindset is very much in line with having a growth mindset. So when you hit a setback, you discover where your current limits are. That doesn't mean you can't work to push that limit further back for the next challenge. You can get a little better every day, and you do that by studying, learning, practicing, and strengthening. Kobe Bryant wasn't born excellent and ready for the NBA. What made him excellent was his amazing work ethic, his dedication to stick to his plan and continue to improve no matter what. It should come as no surprise that growing and learning is key to achieving excellence. Richard Feynman was someone who knew something about excellence. He pioneered the field of quantum electrodynamics and reached such impressive heights that Bill Gates considered him the best teacher I never had. Feynman's life has been so thoroughly researched that we now have what's known as the Feynman technique, which is essentially a process for learning. It's a process that is centered around a pretty simple idea. Can you explain what you've learned to a child? The key to doing this is to do enough research that you've covered all your gaps in knowledge. This should put you in the right position to organize all the details into a story that you could then deliver so clearly that even a child could understand it. If you've ever had to deliver a keynote address that explains a complex subject, you might already be familiar with the general idea of the Feynman technique. It's not only useful for your audience, it's also a way to ensure that you've fully learned and absorbed the information. This technique can also be useful in developing other habits that lead to success, like diversifying your skill sets and writing. The simple act of writing can be transformational. Put your plan in writing. Write down the small daily goals that will keep you on track. When you learn new information and skills, write down what you've learned and turn it into a story that even a child would understand. When you make a mistake, write it down and make a note of what you've learned from that mistake. Turn failures into new goals. Turn a daily journal into your ongoing memoir of excellence. Hopefully, these tips will inspire some new habits of your own. Achieving excellence isn't an easy task, but it is one of the most rewarding things we can do. A life well lived is a life filled with purpose and meaning. And nothing ticks those boxes quite like the pursuit of excellence. So as we wrap up the Blink to The Pursuit of Excellence by Ryan Hawk, let's take a moment to go over the main ideas one more time. According to Hawk, the pursuit of excellence is different from the pursuit of success. It is focused on lifelong self-improvement and setting small goals that you can achieve on a daily basis. By adopting a purpose mindset, you can begin to respect the ongoing process by keeping the big picture in mind and not letting temporary setbacks get you off track. This also means maintaining a growth mindset, in that it is focused on testing and pushing your limits to new heights. Unlike being driven solely by success, the purpose mindset is focused on internal factors that you can control, such as creating a lifestyle and environment that is conducive to your goals, and surrounding yourself with mentors and positive relationships. Hopefully, with these tips in mind, you'll be one step closer to pursuing excellence. So, I've been Amanda, and thank you so much for listening. And be sure to